She said at brunch, "I'm calling off the wedding. I don't love you anymore." In front of her friends. I said, "Thank you for your honesty." Then I stood up, took the ring back, and announced I'd be hosting a dodged-a-bullet party instead. Her friends stopped laughing when I added, "I, 31 male, just experienced the most bizarre Sunday brunch of my life. My fiancé, 29, and I were supposed to get married in 6 weeks. Together for 4 years, engaged for 8 months. Everything seemed fine, or so I thought. This morning, she suggested brunch with her 3 closest friends. Said it would be fun, relaxed, nothing special. I agreed. We're at the restaurant, mimosas flowing, everyone laughing. Mid-conversation about bridesmaid dresses, she suddenly goes quiet, like, dead silent. Her friends notice. "You okay?" one of them asks. My fiancé takes a deep breath, looks at me. I need to say something. I'm thinking maybe she's pregnant or wants to change the venue. Nope. "I can't do this anymore. I'm calling off the wedding. I don't love you anymore." Just like that. In front of her 3 friends. At brunch, with the waiter literally bringing my eggs Benedict. Her friends gasped. One covered her mouth. Another said, "Oh my God, are you serious?" I sat there for maybe 10 seconds, processing. Then I felt calm, weirdly calm. "Thank you for your honesty," I said. Held out my hand. "The ring, please." She blinked. "What?" "The engagement ring. It's mine, or more accurately, it was my grandmother's. I'd like it back." Her friends were watching, like this was a reality show. She slowly pulled it off and handed it to me. I pocketed it, stood up. "Well, this changes plans. I was going to host a wedding reception in 6 weeks. Now I'll be hosting a dodged-a-bullet party instead. Same venue, same catering, same open bar. You're all still invited." Her friends actually giggled. Thought I was joking. Then I added, "Oh, and about those wedding expenses? The $62,000 in deposits you insisted on putting in your name to prove you're an independent modern woman? Those are all yours now. Good luck with that. Also, you'll need to move out of my apartment by end of month since you refused to sign a lease." The giggling stopped. Her face went white. "Wait, what?" "Your name. On everything. The venue deposit, the catering, the photographer, the flowers. Remember? You insisted. Said it was important for your credit building and independence. Congratulations on your independence." One of her friends whispered, "Oh no. And one more thing." I pulled out my phone. My uncle was planning to give us $150,000 as a wedding gift. Had it all set up, but that was contingent on us actually getting married. So that's gone too. I dropped $40 on the table for my untouched food. "Enjoy brunch, ladies. I've got a party to plan." Walked out. Been sitting in my car for 20 minutes. Hands are shaking now, but I meant every word. Update 1, 3 days later. The fallout has been insane. Sunday afternoon, about 2 hours after I left brunch, my phone started blowing up. Her friends, her mom, her sister. All of them. Her mom called first. "You can't just abandon her with all that debt. You were planning to get married. That money was for both of you." She called off the wedding. The expenses were in her name at her insistence. I'm not legally or morally obligated to pay for a wedding that isn't happening. But she made those deposits assuming you'd help. She made those deposits assuming we'd get married. She ended the engagement. Consequences. Her mom started crying, called me heartless, hung up. Her sister texted, "She's having a panic attack. The wedding costs are going to ruin her financially. You really gonna let that happen?" I replied, "She really going to call off a wedding publicly and expect me to still fund it? Yes, I'm going to let that happen." Blocked her sister. Monday, my ex showed up at my apartment. I have cameras. Watched her buzz repeatedly for 15 minutes. Finally answered the intercom. "We need to talk." "No, we don't." "Please, I made a mistake. I was overwhelmed. We can work this out. You don't love me anymore, remember? Yesterday at brunch?" "I didn't mean it like that. I was just scared." "You meant it enough to say it in front of your friends. You meant it enough to blindside me at a restaurant. You own those words. What about the wedding costs? What about them? You have to help me. I can't afford $62,000 in debt. Should have thought about that before calling off the wedding. This is financial abuse." I actually laughed. "Financial abuse? You put everything in your name. You made that choice. I'm just not bailing you out of your consequences. I'll sue you." "For what? Not marrying you?" "Good luck with that." She stood there crying for another 10 minutes, finally left. Tuesday, her best friend called, the one who was maid of honor. Look, I know she handled this badly, but she's drowning. Can't you help her with at least some of the deposits? Why would I do that? Because you loved her? Past tense. Correct. She ended that Sunday. She's going to lose her apartment. She can't make rent, plus these wedding payments. That's unfortunate. How can you be so cold? How could she call off a wedding at brunch? We all make choices. She tried the guilt trip angle for 20 more minutes. Told her I was done with the conversation. Hung up. Wednesday morning, I get an email from a lawyer, her lawyer, demanding I pay my share of the wedding expenses since they were undertaken with mutual understanding of shared financial responsibility. My response, through my own lawyer: client entered expenses in her name at her insistence. Client called off wedding unilaterally. No shared financial responsibility exists. Client respectfully declines to engage further. Her lawyer sent back a longer email, threatened to sue for promissory estoppel and unjust enrichment. My lawyer called me. She has no case. The expenses are in her name. She ended the engagement. You're clear legally. How much is this going to cost me to defend if she actually sues? Maybe $5,000 to $10,000 if it goes anywhere. But it won't. Any judge will toss it. Do it. Defend everything. I'm not giving her a cent. Here's the thing everyone keeps missing. She didn't just call off the wedding. She did it publicly. She did it to humiliate me. Her friends laughed when I first said I'd throw a party instead. They thought it was pathetic. But when reality hit, when they realized she'd screwed herself, suddenly I'm the bad guy for not rescuing her. Nah. She wanted independence. She's got it. The dodged a bullet party is still happening. Sent out invites yesterday. About 30 people confirmed. My family, even 2 of her friends who apparently think what she did was wrong. It's gonna be at a bar. Cost me $800 for the space and some appetizers. Way cheaper than $62,000. Update 2. 10 days later, it's gotten messier. My ex's family has gone full court press. Her father called me at work, somehow got my direct office line. You're destroying my daughter's life over pride. Your daughter destroyed her own life with her choices. She made a mistake. People make mistakes, and people face consequences for mistakes. That's life. I'm offering to mediate. We can split the costs. You pay half, she pays half. Clean slate. No. Why are you being so stubborn? Because she called off our wedding at brunch, in front of her friends, for maximum humiliation. Now she wants my money to clean up her mess? That's not stubbornness. That's self-respect. We can't afford to help her with all of it. We've got our own bills. Then she'll need to figure it out herself, like an independent modern woman. He tried threatening me. Said he knows people. Said I'd regret this. I reminded him I record all my calls in a one-party consent state and hung up. Friday, I found out through a mutual friend what actually happened. Why she called it off. She'd been seeing someone else. Not physically, apparently, but emotionally. Some guy from her gym. They'd been talking for 3 months. She thought she was in love with him. Decided to call off our wedding to pursue her happiness. The gym guy found out about the $62,000 in wedding debt and the breakup drama. Ghosted her immediately. So now she's alone, broke, and desperate. Her sister showed up at my apartment building Monday evening. Waited in the lobby until I came home from work. We need to talk. No, we don't. Please, 5 minutes. Against my better judgment, I agreed. We sat in the lobby. She's falling apart, lost 12 pounds, can't sleep. The debt collectors are already calling. That's unfortunate. She knows she screwed up. She knows she hurt you. But this punishment doesn't fit the crime. What punishment? I'm not doing anything to her. I'm just not rescuing her from her own decisions. You could help. You have the money. I do have money. Money I'm keeping because I didn't call off my own wedding and stick myself with unpayable debt. She thought you'd always be there for her. She was right, until she publicly dumped me at brunch. Funny how that changes things. The $150,000 from your uncle, can't you ask him to give it anyway? I stared at her. You want me to ask my uncle for $150,000 to give to my ex-fiancée who called off our wedding? For her to pay off the debt? You're delusional, genuinely delusional. You're being cruel. I'm being fair. She made choices, big girl choices. She gets big girl consequences. I stood up. We're done here. Don't come back. She started crying in my lobby. I went upstairs. Tuesday I got a Facebook friend request from the gym guy, the one she left me for. Curious, I accepted. He messaged immediately. Dude, I had no idea she was engaged. She told me she was single. Just wanted you to know. Cool, thanks for the info. She's been blowing up my phone, says you ruined her life. I didn't call off the wedding. Yeah, that's what I figured. She's intense, man. Good luck with whatever's going on. He unfriended me right after. Smart guy. Wednesday was the lawyer escalation. Her attorney filed a formal lawsuit, breach of promise, unjust enrichment, intentional infliction of emotional distress. The works. My lawyer wasn't worried. This is a nuisance suit. She's desperate, will file to dismiss, and likely win. How much will this cost me? Probably $8,000 to $12,000 if it goes to trial, but I doubt it will. The facts are terrible for her. Do whatever you need to do. Thursday evening, my ex somehow got into my building. Someone held the door. Started banging on my apartment door. Open up, we need to talk. I called building security. They escorted her out. She screamed the whole way about how I was destroying her life and she had rights. Building manager called me after. Sir, we've documented this. She's now banned from the property. She tries this again, we're calling the police. Thank you. Also, I gotta ask, what did you do to her? Didn't marry her, he laughed. Fair enough. Friday was the party planning. Confirmed final head count, 32 people. Got the banner printed, dodged a bullet, a celebration. My mom asked if I was sure about this. If it wasn't too harsh. Mom, she called off our wedding at brunch, with her friends there. They laughed when I said I'd throw a party instead. Now I'm throwing the party. That's not harsh. That's follow-through. But all this fighting over the money, she put the expenses in her name. She called off the wedding. She's dealing with the consequences of her choices. I'm not being cruel. I'm just not being a doormat. Mom sighed. Your father thinks you're handling this well. Thanks. The party's tomorrow. Should be interesting. Final update, 2 weeks later. The party happened. It was perfect. 32 people showed up. Friends, family, co-workers, even a couple of my ex's friends who'd reached out privately to apologize for not seeing how badly she'd handled things. The banner was a hit. Got photos with everyone in front of it. Open bar, good food, lots of laughs. My best friend gave a toast to our friend who dodged not just a bullet, but a whole firing squad. And to him having the spine to not pay $62,000 for the privilege of being dumped at brunch. Everyone cheered. Posted some photos on social media. Didn't tag my ex, didn't mention her specifically. Just celebration photos. She saw them. I know because her mom called me the next day, furious. How dare you mock my daughter publicly? I threw a party with my friends, didn't mention her once. That banner, those posts, you're humiliating her. She humiliated herself. I'm just living my life. She's talking about bankruptcy. Do you understand that? Yes, that's what happens when you take on $62,000 in debt you can't afford, and then lose the person who was going to help you pay for it. You could stop all this, just help her with some of the money. Why? Because she didn't just break up with me. She did it at brunch, in front of her friends, designed for maximum humiliation. Because she put everything in her name, specifically to prove her independence. Because she's been trying to sue me, harass me, and make me the villain. Because I don't reward people who treat me like garbage. Pick a reason. She hung up crying. The lawsuit got dismissed last week. Judge took one look at the facts, heard that she initiated the breakup and that all contracts were in her name, and tossed it. Told her lawyer to advise his client to stop wasting the court's time. Cost me $9,200 in legal fees, worth every penny. My ex tried one more approach. Showed up at my parents' house. My dad answered the door. According to Dad, she came in crying, begging me to talk sense into you. Said she was going to lose everything. Asked if we could give her the money since we're basically family. What'd you say? I said you called off the wedding. You're not family, and my son doesn't owe you anything. Then I closed the door. Thanks, Dad. Son, I'm proud of how you've handled this. A lot of men would have caved from the pressure. You stood your ground. That meant a lot. Current status, my ex moved back in with her parents. Had to break her apartment lease, more fees, working 2 jobs trying to pay down the wedding debt. Her credit is destroyed. She's filed for debt consolidation, but it's not looking good. Do I feel bad? Not really. She made every single one of these choices. She chose to put the expenses in her name. She chose to call off the wedding publicly. She chose to try to bully me into paying anyway. She chose to sue me frivolously. I just chose not to save her from herself. Me? I'm doing great. Got the grandmother's ring back, having it appraised and potentially selling it. Don't need the memories. Apartment is peaceful without her. Started dating again casually. Work's going well. Financially, I'm out about $10,000 total. Lawyer fees, the party, missed costs. She's out $62,000 plus legal fees, plus moving costs, plus destroyed credit. The math works for me. Someone asked me last week if I'd ever consider helping her now that everything's settled. If seeing her struggle makes me want to step in. No, not even a little. Because this isn't about the money. It's about respect. She disrespected me in the worst possible way, then expected me to fund her consequences. That's not how life works. She wanted to call off the wedding? Fine, her right. She wanted to do it publicly at brunch? Weird choice, but okay. She wanted to stick all the financial responsibility on herself to prove her independence? Bold strategy. But she doesn't get to do all that. And get my money. Pick one. She picked independence. She got it. She got it. Lesson learned. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. And when they try to make their problem your problem, sometimes the kindest thing you can do is let them solve it themselves. The dodged a bullet party was a success. Best money I've spent in years. Life's good, moving forward, no regrets.